market sell-off, markets in turmoil. In light of today's painful plummet, what are the CEOs saying? We've got three top chiefs here to give us their corner office perspective. Joining us now, Bill George, Harvard Business School director and former chairman and CEO of Medtronic. Doug Lebda, the founder and CEO of Lending Tree, and on the phone now, Ann Mulcahy, the former chairman and CEO of Xerox. Great to have you all with us. Doug, I want to start off with you and just ask you about sort of the issue of confidence, and you are sitting in a very interesting place here. Are you seeing people withdraw their applications for loans and rethinking some of the deals that they're in?
No, quite the contrary. We're seeing consumers really rushing to lock in at record rates. Mortgage rates today hit about between 4 1/8% and 4 1/4% for 30-year fixed. 5/1 ARMs are less than 3%, if you can imagine that. We had more rate locks today than any day that we've had in the last 3 years.
Wow.
And business is going to be booming here for some time, and I think consumers are smart to capitalize.
Is that refis or new?
Those are mostly refinances, but we're also seeing home affordability, obviously given the reduction in house prices and also interest rates. At the home affordability index is twice as good as its sort of historical average over the last 50 years.
And imagine there's a difference, though, in demand in terms of mortgages for residences versus mortgages for investment properties.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Clearly, first time, your primary home is still where the best markets are, and they're still suffering in some of these other markets where it's predominantly second homes.
Bill George, love to get your take on where we are in terms of confidence. We hear it so often. Days like today certainly can shake it, not to mention what we've seen in Washington, the downgrade of the U.S. debt rating. How does that resonate in the corner office, given what we've seen over the last few weeks?
Well, I think CEOs need to stay the course of their strategies. Of course, they're concerned. But now is the time for them to reassure their employees or customers. Frankly, I'd be out buying my stock back, give reassurance to the stock market, and put a floor into my stock. It's accretive. I would be out, frankly, I would be, given the low growth in the U.S., I'd probably be focusing on productivity and cost savings in the U.S. and trimming up my payroll. But I'd be expanding aggressively in emerging markets, not just China and India, but all around the globe. And I'd look for cash acquisitions. Cash is cheap right now, and the fact your stock price down doesn't matter. You're going to get a very good value.
But you just said you'd be trimming up your payroll.
Right.
So, isn't that the problem that we're facing here in the first place?
Yes, and until the president comes out, and I think the president has to lead. He's got to stop blaming everyone else and saying, look, we're going to lead. I'm the president. Here's what we're going to do. And I would get a repatriation holiday to get, if people invest, if they hire people, if they invest in research and factories, I would clear the way on exports, and I would clear up this problem with all the regulators like we've got with the NLRB, and I'd open the way. A lot of industries right now have lots of cash they want to invest. Automobiles, IT, energy, we've heard Boeing does. And I would make it easy. And healthcare, there are a lot of opportunities. But the regulators are holding them back right now, and I think we just need to get very positive about that. And the president's got to sacrifice some political capital with his own party to get behind these. And I would go for a lower base corporate tax rate, revenue neutral, and frankly cut back on the deductions, clean up the tax rate. Every business person wants to see that, so I'd move aggressively.
And what responsibility do CEOs have in speaking out the way Bill George just did?
Well, I actually think it's a time where CEOs need to be leaders. They need to be active. I mean, certainly with their own constituencies, with their people, they can't be feeding into the frenzy. This is a time where they've got to be out and visible with key clients and employees. They've got to be, their primary concern is they've got a business to run, and they cannot be distracted. Having said that, I do think that there's an opportunity for CEOs to have a voice as it relates to what needs to be done, a voice that kind of coalesces around taking decisive action, having the courage to make some tough decisions, beginning to bring some confidence back into this market. And I think the business community can be extraordinarily helpful right now in making sure that that message is widely understood.
But, Ann, I've been covering business for 25 years, and typically in a period like this, they run for cover like everybody else.
And I don't disagree with that. I absolutely believe this is a time when CEOs have to be vocal, have to be visible,
about the layoffs that they have planned? What can you be vocal about, Ann?
Well, I think, number one, you need to be vocal about what businesses need, like Bill George was saying. I think we need to, and by the way, I think it's a time when actually CEOs need to be talking about what they expect from Washington. They need to, quite frankly, express their displeasure in the outcome. They need to encourage the right kind of negotiation and the right kinds of outcomes that'll be good for the economy and good for business.
Okay.
Let me just reinforce what Ann said.
More.
And I think you're absolutely right.
Last point here.
And I think not enough CEOs are speaking out. And frankly, we're in good shape. We have cash. Right. And we should be out there using it, and we need to express our point of view.
On that note, guys, got to wrap it up. Thank you, Bill George, Doug Lebda, and Ann Mulcahy. Coming up.